From the Gypsy King saying that he'll only accept the fight if it's in a boxing ring, to Dana White doubling down on his offer to the heavyweight boxer. Here are all the rumors about the upcoming Jon Jones versus Tyson Fury fight you need to know. For starters, the Gypsy King is hell-bent on the bout being inside a boxing ring. I mean, it's not really a surprise considering that he's one of the best boxers in the game right now. The fact that he's won the WBC heavyweight title since 2020 is proof. Dana White confirmed to Bro Bible that he was on board with the fight happening, and will make it happen because he really likes Tyson. Of course, Tyson had to make things clear on his end, and replied to Dana through Instagram stories, saying that any fight would have to take place under boxing rules. Fury also added that he's not the kind to roll around on the floor, and likes to stand up and punch instead. I don't know about you, but to me it looks like the Brit is not a fan of MMA. The lineal heavyweight champion, as he calls himself, is locked in a war of words with his potential opponent, Jon Jones. If you're wondering how this unlikely pair of rivals came about, look no further than Joe Rogan's podcast. The UFC commentator loves talking about controversial topics on the pod, and he's not one to shy away from giving his unfiltered opinions on potential matchups. A few episodes ago, Joe talked about how nobody thinks that Tyson Fury could beat Jon Jones in a fight. Now that's a bold statement to make, but nobody expects anything less from Rogan. Once Tyson Fury found out what the commentator said, he had no choice but to respond. And in true Tyson fashion, his rant was packed with profanity. Big John Fury said that Bones couldn't even if he tried. The boxer took it a step further and added that no one born from a mother could Joe's comments clearly got to him, and now he's all riled up. It's good though, because if the fight ends up happening, Fury will be all fueled up because he just wants to prove Joe Rogan wrong. It looks like the Furious One is prepared for a matchup against Jones, and wouldn't you know it, the UFC champ feels the same. He's coming off a crazy win against the one and only Cyril Garn, after an unexpected submission from the Frenchman in the very first round. Now if that's not impressive, then I don't know what is. Bones knows how to choose his battles wisely, and it's clear he's gearing up to settle the debate that Rogan started once and for all. He took to Twitter to respond to his future opponent, addressing him directly with a "Hey Tyson." John went on to say that Joe struck a nerve, but calmly admitted that nobody's touching the legendary boxer in the ring. Of course, when it comes to the UFC cage, things are very different. Johnny Bones is the king of the octagon, and nobody can deny that. Did Tyson Fury awaken the beast when he said nobody can defeat him? I'd say yes. Boney's willing to put all the questions that the Gypsy King's got to rest. Fans just need to hope the boxer feels the same. Both fighters are set on competing in their own territories, but fans have speculated that having it out in a boxing ring is the best option for both fighters right now. Even though the Furious One has some experience in MMA training, like the time he rolled with Nick Diaz, he's not nearly as experienced as Jones, a guy who lives and breathes the sport. Don't get me wrong though, the fact that Tyson knows mixed martial arts is still a plus, because it has fans hopeful about a mixed rules bout. That's what they were hoping for with Francis Ngannou too. Now that he's officially joined the Professional Fighters League, his deal allows him to fight in boxing matches too. If this matchup ends up happening, it could mean that Tyson Fury has the chance to prove himself as a worthy opponent for Bones. As for what the fight will be like, it's no secret that Fury won't be able to do a straight MMA fight against the two-time undisputed UFC light heavyweight champion. That was a mouthful, but it's proof that Jon Jones is a force to be reckoned with. When it comes to the skills that you need for an MMA fight, it's very likely that Tyson doesn't have them. The way boxers train and the way MMA fighters train are completely different. Plus, when you think about how Jones marked the end of his 3-year hiatus with the win against Garn, it's crystal clear that he's not like the rest of the guys in the UFC. He's a threat, especially to someone like Fury. Now don't get too excited, because this doesn't mean that the Gypsy King isn't a menace. After 34 boxing matches in his entire career, he's only been beaten once by Derek Chisora. The 33-0-1 record is something that the other guys can only dream of having. And it's proof that this guy too is an unstoppable juggernaut, when you consider both Bones and Fury's accomplishments in MMA and boxing respectively. It's no surprise that they've taken the world by storm with the whole debate about who's better. Even though nothing's been confirmed about what the fight will be like yet, fans can expect the MMA fighter to be more willing to make the transition to boxing, even if it's for one fight. Think back to those comments Tyson made, the same ones about wanting to fight in the boxing ring and not the octagon. Josh Barnett, a former UFC champion, thinks that the Brit is running scared right now and made his predictions for the potential showdown. According to Josh, Fury could beat Jones in boxing, but when it comes to MMA and kickboxing, the War Master is betting on Bones. Why? Well, with 25 years of pro fighting experience under his belt, Josh is sure that Tyson Fury wouldn't make it past the first round with him, and the same logic can be applied to Jon Jones. The now-retired champ also made some snide comments about boxers and how they love to run their mouths, along with talking about how they can beat MMA fighters. That's definitely the case with Fury. In the end, though, there's a pattern you can't deny. Almost every boxer ends up backtracking on that statement, because in their hearts, they just know it's not true. Even Michael Bisping feels the same way about this whole situation. The ex-champion turned commentator said that if Tyson Fury and Jon Jones go up against each other in the octagon, Fury's not going to have a bloody chance. The Count admitted that he'd be seated for the fight just because of how exciting the clash would be, and he feels like a lot of fans will do the same. Two legends in the same cage. Who doesn't want that? Plus, like Michael said, Fury's an interesting guy. Not only is he big and powerful, he comes from a fighting family too. The sport is in his blood, and like Jones, Bisping thinks Tyson's a tough bastard. All that isn't going to be enough to beat someone like Bones in a mixed martial arts competition, and that's just the end of the debate for Michael Bisping. With this fantasy match becoming closer to becoming a reality, fans are still skeptical about the whole thing. There's no confirmation yet, so it's still a what-if scenario right now. But the Furious One is determined to make it happen, and is keeping his fans in the loop about all the important updates. He recently took to Twitter and revealed that talks about a hybrid fight with Jon Jones are in the works. Apparently, the boxer even received a formal offer from the UFC. But fans know they need to take this news with a grain of salt. Some of them started speculating that nothing will actually happen, saying this is just a ploy to stop Francis Ngannou from taking a boxing match. Others said that Fury wouldn't dare to sign the UFC offer. It looks like the fans have some major trust issues, but can you blame them? Fury's unpredictable as heck. But the fact that Dana White just doubled down on his offer to him might just be the final piece of the puzzle. After UFC Fight Night, out of nowhere, the promotion's president confirmed that his offer to the Gypsy King still stands. He made sure to talk about the great relationship that the two of them have, and praised Tyson for being the baddest man in the boxing arena. Dana even addressed the British boxer directly in his interview, saying that if he really wants to find out who the baddest man on the planet is, White will make the fight himself. Now that the president of the UFC himself is on board, the Gypsy King should have nothing to worry about. So, from Dana White doubling down on his offer to the heavyweight boxer, to the Gypsy King saying that he'll only accept the fight if it's in a boxing ring, these were all the rumors about the upcoming Jon Jones-Tyson Fury bout you need to know.